Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily Dizzle for Tuesday, January 18th, 2011. We've got a lot to cover today, so we're not going to take any time jumping right into it. We'll give you a brief overview. We got a lot of sequel news to get to. It seems like a lot of wheels have been turning in regards to production for movies such as G.I. Joe 2, The Next Underworld, Expendables 2, Red 2, How to Train Your Dragon 2, an Alien prequel, more details from Sherlock Holmes 2, plus details from another Robert Downey Jr. movie, in addition to some news from Spider-Man, Captain America, and Mortal Kombat as well. Obviously, let's get into the big news coming out of the weekend that we were starting to cover yesterday. Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes. Apparently, a lot of the critics could not stand his stylings and thought he was very mean. A lot of the Hollywood people who were in attendance thought the same thing. There were even representatives from the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, who runs the Golden Globes, who were actually saying during the show that it was probably the last time you'd see Ricky Gervais invited to host the show. Despite all his, mean-spirited remarks that pissed everyone off in Hollywood, he actually ended up raising the ratings from about 5% compared to last year. And it seems like if you go online, any of the people who are complaining about it, if you look at the comment section, it seems like everyone else who watched it completely got the style of Ricky Gervais and loved it. And with all of the he said, she said of, oh, he's got banned, oh, he didn't, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association did put out official announcement. We loved the show. It was a lot of fun and obviously had a lot of people talking. When you hire a comedian like Ricky Gervais, one expects in-your-face, sometimes outrageous material, of course. Certainly, in this case, he pushed the envelope and occasionally went too far. The HFPA would never condone some of his personal remarks. Overall, however, the show were among the best we've ever had and we were pleased. So they're saying, meh, he pissed people off, but he earned us money. So, it's kind of a trade-off. You're not going to be successful without stepping on a few toes along the way. So, if anything, this is just giving Ricky Gervais a little bit more of a air to him, that if you bring him in, you might be pushing boundaries, but you're going to pay for it in the long run in the positive ways of, hey, everyone is actually watching us. Now, with all the controversy coming out of the Golden Globes, Ricky Gervais' time in the spotlight might only just be beginning. Meanwhile, there is a legendary man in Hollywood, legendary TV host whose time is coming to an end, and that is Regis. Apparently, he went on this morning on the Today Show and announced that he's staying this year, but this is going to be his last year, maybe even by the end of the summer. So it'll be very interesting to see how they go about replacing him, because Regis, the dude has been on TV for like quarter century. He was probably second to Dick Clark for, how much he hadn't aged until the stroke kind of came back up on Clark. But still, it's going to suck to see him go. I mean, he's an old guy who can still perform. You don't see a lot of those on TV nowadays. So, kind of a sad day that he's announcing his retirement, though. He's going to be on TV every single day for the next couple of months, so get over your crocodile tears. Now it's time, though, to jump right into the latest new movie news. To kick things off with the Underworld franchise, obviously the third movie that they did was a prequel, but now it seems like they are going back to the present day. Apparently the previously rumored title for the movie was going to be Underworld New Dawn, and it has been confirmed with casting notices being sent out, and shooting kicks off in March in Vancouver for that one. So we are only a few months off from a fourth Underworld movie. I never saw the third one. I really only have seen the second one the whole way through, but that was badass, so I'll give it a shot, especially if Kate Beckinsale's back. If there is one man who's very happy about all the sequel news coming out in the last few days, it is Bruce Willis, because now he has two big properties lined up. Of course, he was in Red over the fall. It was actually a very successful PG-13 action thriller. And they're actually penning a story for the second one right now, so it might be a little ways off, but he's got that to look forward to. Not only that, but the rumor is he will be returning for the Expendables, and he might actually end up being the villain in it. So, obviously the opening scene of the first Expendables kind of would be the setup to bring him in as a bigger character. That's going to be awesome. We need more movies like the Expendables out. And not only is Bruce Willis rumored to be coming back for that, there is a rumor that Jean-Claude Van Damme is also going to join as well. He didn't sign up for the first one, much like Steven Seagal. They thought maybe it was too violent, and they didn't want to be seen as just another member of a team. But after the first one makes over $100 million, you're kind of stupid to not want to get in on it. So it's good to see that some of these guys who can't swallow their pride are learning to be able to get it down just a little bit. Now, as we reported the other day, we told you that one of the big things coming out of Sherlock Holmes 2 is there's going to be a big train station gun battle, which is awesome and definitely seems appropriate for the period piece that is Sherlock Holmes. Meanwhile, over the weekend at the Golden Globes, Robert Downey Jr. says he's got about 3 more weeks of shooting to go on Sherlock Holmes 2 in London, so they are getting closer and closer to finishing. So I'm sure more news will be coming out about that. In addition to that, we also have news on one of his other upcoming projects. Anyone knows the classic cartoon, Mr. Peabody and Sherman. So, you know, the little kid, his talking dog, they go in history, discover things about, you know, historical figures, new things that no one knew before. Mr. Peabody's the dog, and Robert Downey Jr. is Mr. Peabody. So, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be the voice of a little animated dog. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be like when Jason Lee did Underdog. Not many people saw it, but anyone who did knew it was awesome. So, I have to say I'm looking forward to, you know, one of the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons spinning off into its own, hopefully successful family franchise, because I just can't wait to hear Robert Downey Jr.'s voice coming out of a dog. Now to jump into the rest of the sequel, prequel franchise news, let's start off with Alien. Everyone knows who Alien is, that movie franchise, Sigourney Weaver, James Cameron. And if you don't, all you need to remember is the chest bursters. That's exactly what it looks like. Regardless, though, Ridley Scott had an idea for a prequel in the last couple of years. And when Ridley Scott has any ideas, companies come calling. When Ridley Scott has an idea for an already established franchise, they come running. So it's taken a little longer to get the story mapped out. Originally, it started off as more of a direct prequel. They were looking at spinning off, you know, the space jockey creatures that you see early in the first movie. But then it kind of grew into something else, where now, you know, the fans will recognize the aliens' DNA, but the ideas in the movie are more unique. So it's apparently set in the alien sci-fi universe, though it might not be directly related. And right now they're calling it Prometheus. So I just love hearing the word Prometheus, because every time I think it, I think Prometheus and Bob from Kablam and Little Alien and the Caveman, and I get a little bit nostalgic. Now to jump into something a little bit more kid-friendly than the chest bursters. How to Train Your Dragon 2. They're actively working on it right now. One of the original 2 directors of the first one has an idea for the sequel. They're starting to lay it out, though a lot of people are really scared, apparently, about the prospects, because there's so much going on that they have to start mapping now. And even with they're hoping to get it done in a little less than 3 years, which is a pretty fast schedule for them animation-wise. But the fact that sequels usually don't take as many years as original ideas to make, because if original idea, you have to make everything from the ground up. If you have a sequel, you have things already laid out. So they said, you know, original ideas take about 4 years, so a little less than 3 years isn't too far off for them. Now, with the G.I. Joe movie, we covered a couple weeks ago how the director from the first one, Stephen Sommers, is not coming back for that. However, they are starting to go through and get whoever is returning from the original. They're getting them locked in. The latest news is the guy who played Storm Shadow in the original is going to be returning. Roughly, they're aiming to shoot it by June and have it in theaters by summer 2012. So, slowly but surely, the cast details are starting to come out on that one. Meanwhile, with comic book movies coming out, obviously, with Marvel having all their cross promotion and the Avengers tying into Captain America, tying into everything else. There have been a little bit of news, specifically on the Captain America front. They've actually released images of the Halloween costume tie-in for the Red Skull villain, and looks pretty boss. I mean, when you think Red Skull and you see this, you think, yeah, that's definitely a Red Skull. So at the very least, they're gonna scare the crap out of some of their kids come Halloween time, but they'll make a little money doing it. So on top of that, also from the Marvel Universe, apparently in this incarnation of the new Spider-Man movie, they are going to be taking a little bit of a different approach than the last trilogy. Usually when it comes to the creation story of Spider-Man and his powers, the web slingers, you know, from the wrists, those are always a problem. because you have the one issue of, you can say, oh, go with the comic books. Peter Parker made them. Peter Parker made shit that he can fly around the city with. It doesn't die. So a lot of the time, people don't like that because it's very, very unrealistic. So Sam Raimi in the last Spider-Man movies, he went with the other storyline of it's an ability that he discovers. It's something that comes with the Spider-Bite powers. This Spider-Man, though, they're going back to the Peter Parker made his homemade web-slinging solution, which I guess it could be a little bit more okay in this universe, this version of the Spider-Man universe, only because of the fact that he's in college. So maybe his classes he learned something, maybe actually learned chemical engineering, what to do to make it so strong. So maybe I'll give it credit, but still, it seems a little bit iffy that they're going to be like, oh, one of the craziest, random, most powerful inventions? Yeah, it was a random little college kid. And now to cover the last little bit of news that we've got today. A couple months ago, there was a Mortal Kombat short that went online. It featured Michael Jai White as Jax Briggs, the dude with the metal arms from the games that could tear everyone up. If you don't know who Michael Jai White is, you would recognize him from the Spawn movie or as one of the villains from The Dark Knight. He was the one that wanted the Joker, dead or alive. He offered the reward. He knows a lot about martial arts and everything like that. That's how he got the Spawn movie role and everything. At this point, though, they were hoping to get a movie reboot for the Mortal Kombat franchise by doing that short where it was just him beating the shit out of everything. Apparently, they did not get a movie, but they did get a 10-episode web series. So you can expect to see that soon. Not only is Jax going to be the main character, but you can expect to see Shang Tsung, Liu Kang, Sub-Zero, Cabal, Kitana, Melina, and Scorpion all pop up. So anyone who's a fan of the original Mortal Kombat games, or at least the early games in the series, got to be excited about that one. Can only lead to good things with more awareness for Mortal Kombat. Though I also heard that the new game is going to have some awesome hidden characters as well. So I guess this is just continuing to expand it in all directions until they can eventually reboot the series. So we'll see how that ends up turning out in the long run. But as we said, that's all we've got for today's Daily Dizzle. We thank you guys for joining us as always. If this is your first time checking us out, you can check any of the other episodes you've missed at our YouTube channel. Either click the username or go to youtube.com/Dizzlemits. In addition to that, you can also check out some of our other previous original content. We've got some good music video highlights for movies such as Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Adventureland, Superbad, Rocky, a couple others. So go ahead and check that out. You can definitely kill a lot of time if you have nothing better to do. So we invite you to do that. We also invite you back for tomorrow's edition. We'll have the box office coverage in addition to whatever other movie news comes out in the meantime. But that's all we've got for today, so we thank you for joining us as always. I'm Tommy Dizzlemits for the Daily Dizzle. We will see you on Wednesday.